A voice that was honest, a video that went viral, and a string of accusations that left Hollywood in suspense. Jaguar Wright, 48, recently made some shocking claims that, if accurate, might rock the entertainment business as a whole. She made a suggestion that she may know who was responsible for the hit that was directed at Malcolm-Jamal Warner, a character that millions of people are familiar with from The Cosby Show. These are not mere backstage rumors. They provide a speculative picture of a system that many people think is prepared to silence anyone who dares to speak up, as well as a shadowy force that issues ominous warnings. There are rumors that the FBI is interested in the case. However, what if it is real and may make a vacation to Costa Rica a last resort? Behind the curtain, who is hiding? What is it that they want Malcolm to keep quiet about? Do you think this is just an unfortunate coincidence? Or is it a tale that hasn't been told in its entirety yet? A weird juncture, 2 paths, and 2 names. Consider this. You're scrolling through a deluge of Hollywood news while seated in front of your device. The well-known faces, the brief controversies, the behind-the-scenes secrets that people whisper. However, it's not about a canceled movie contract or a ruined love tale this time. It's a powerful charge that has the potential to tear away the glossy exterior that conceals the shadowy side of the industry. And there are 2 names at the heart of this storm: Jaguar Wright and Malcolm-Jamal Warner. For millions of American viewers, one is an iconic image from their childhood. One is an outspoken, unafraid R&B performer. Why are these 2 seemingly unrelated individuals being drawn into the same story? Even the FBI is said to be interested in it. Born in 1971, Malcolm-Jamal Warner made his public debut at the age of 14. From 1984 to 1992, he portrayed Theo Huxtable on NBC's popular series The Cosby Show, which attracted 30 million people each week. Malcolm grew up in front of the audience. From a teenage lad projecting the picture of the perfect older brother, intelligent, humorous, and personable. Like many other child stars, his career was far from one note once The Cosby Show ended. He earned an Emmy and starred in a lot of films and TV series, as well as dabbled in music as a director, producer, and rapper. In addition to his diverse skill set, he was respected by the public for keeping a straight face in scandal-plagued and seductive Hollywood. But beneath that composed exterior lies a man who isn't scared to voice his opinions. Malcolm has frequently discussed the invisible forces that artists face in equity and the media's misrepresentation of Black identity. According to certain rumors, he may have clashed with forces that would rather stay hidden because he is not the kind to keep quiet or to be safe. Recently, interviews, he seems to be counting down the days until he can say anything before it's too late because of the strange urgency in his voice. Conversely, the moniker Jaguar Wright is associated with the early 2000s R&B and neo-soul sounds. She worked with Jay-Z's Common Origins. She had a strong voice and an emotionally charged theatrical presence. However, it isn't music that has made her famous in recent years. It is a collection of startling claims regarding the negative aspects of the entertainment sector. Jaguar accuses musicians, producers, and influential executives without holding back, ranging from the misuse of artists' influence to the suppression of dissenting opinions. It's interesting to note that Jaguar has previously made shocking revelations, some of which have now been proven to be accurate. Because of this, the internet pays attention whenever she makes an appearance with a serious expression and begins, "I know who's behind this." At 48, Jaguar has outgrown her desire to win over everyone. She now resembles an unwilling witness who is determined to report what she has heard and seen, regardless of the risks. The way these 2 people's journeys intersect adds to the story's suspense. Although Malcolm and Jaguar are not old friends, they are part of the same intricate entertainment network where everyone is either acquainted with one another or has at least heard rumors about them. When Jaguar saw Malcolm in danger, she once said she couldn't keep quiet. She claims that he may be the target of a removal campaign, in addition to being the victim of an unfortunate accident. To gain a better understanding, keep in mind that Malcolm is not viewed by Hollywood as a docile artist. He doesn't want to be the safe black man that the industry wants him to be. He doesn't pull publicity stunts to keep the media interested. As an alternative, he decides to express the hard truths. Malcolm notes that this isn't just a personal dispute, but the result of forces seeking to weaken and separate. Powerful black voices and Jaguar at a time when the industry is preoccupied with image wars, like the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar fight. Every artist in Hollywood is a piece that can be sacrificed, according to her description of the industry as a powered chessboard. According to her, an invisible hand will move to remove them in one way or another when an artist breaks the norms, or is about to divulge something risky. Malcolm is standing directly on that red in Jaguar's eyes line. And it wasn't just leisure that brought him to Costa Rica. It appeared more like an attempt to be protected from harm. All of this is still Jaguar's opinion and supposition of course, and has no concrete legal evidence. But it has weight because similar incidents have occurred in the past, months after signing a nearly $100 million contract. Mariah Carey abruptly suffered a mental collapse and disappeared from the stage. "They're trying to kill me," yelled Martin Lawrence as he fled down the street brandishing a revolver. Dave. Chappelle left a $50 million deal with Comedy Central and felt compelled to perform skits that were disrespectful to his community, so he vanished to Africa. Even though each of these tales is unique, they all have the same eerie undertone, the feeling that something significant is taking place behind the scenes. When you combine these elements, the result is anything but reassuring. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was a prosperous yet independent man who refused to conform to the expectations of the system. A Jaguar Wright, who has accused strong powers on numerous occasions, is now publicly asserting that he has been threatened by incredibly powerful individuals. In a nighttime beach video, Malcolm appears so nervous that viewers are left wondering what's going on. This is simply the basic information. After Jaguar said these words, the story went beyond internet rumors. And there are rumors that the FBI has started looking into the specifics, similar to the Shanquella Robinson case from 2022. If that's the case, the information being disclosed is only the beginning. The identities, motivations, and true links are concealed in the dark. The submerged half, will the light get to it in time to prevent the burial of another truth? What will we learn in the upcoming parts of this novel when every hint points in the same direction? Malcolm's last days, a conflicting chronology. You would assume Malcolm-Jamal Warner had been on a typical Costa Rican vacation until he died in a drowning accident, if you had just heard the story from brief news reports, uncomplicated, tidy, and question-free. However, when all of the information is arranged side by side, the picture starts to fall apart. Witness accounts and what the media reported don't match up with Jaguar Wright's claims. The chronology of Malcolm's last days becomes a confusing web of inconsistencies from this point on. Based on preliminary claims that following a hectic schedule, Malcolm took a vacation to Costa Rica to recuperate. However, Jaguar Wright presents an entirely different image. She claims that this was an escape vacation rather than a trip for tranquility. Malcolm already felt that he was being watched before the travel overseas, and she described it as an attempt to momentarily escape the ever-tightening, unseen net. According to Jaguar, Malcolm did not feel comfortable leaving the United States. He bore a fatigue that befitted someone who was acutely aware that he was being targeted. Then an incident occurred that turned into the main focus of suspicion. A film that captured Malcolm strolling by himself on the beach in the final hours of his life. Just the sound of the waves and the surrounding darkness, with no lights or people passing by. It appears to be a peaceful nighttime walk at first impression. However, every move Malcolm makes seems odd when the frame is magnified. His eyes are not at all at ease. They move about all the time as though they are looking for or protecting something. His steps are unsteady. his shoulders stiff, and there is a noticeable strain on his face. This is not the manner in which a vacationer. The internet soon became divided. Malcolm, according to others, was under the influence of stimulants or drugs. His tenseness and sporadic unsteadiness were interpreted as proof. The autopsy results, however, disproved that idea. There was not a single drop of alcohol or drug residue on his body. This poses a more significant query. What made Malcolm appear as though he had just been told bad news if he was totally sober? There were even more contradictions. Malcolm drowned while attempting to rescue his daughter from a powerful current, according to the first official report. The statement claims that as he was playing with her close to the shore, he noticed that she was in danger and hurried to her aid with a friend. Malcolm did not make it out, but the friend did. If that were accurate, it would be a heroic narrative, since the Costa Rican police commander on the Atlantic coast soon provided an entirely different story. When the incident occurred, Malcolm's family, including his daughter, was not at the beach. They had verified this by interviewing the family. The public was perplexed by this 180-degree turn. Who was the daughter in danger in the original story if the family wasn't present? And why did two official sources give conflicting information? Costa Rica's Judicial Inquiry Office did not take back the initial statement when the Daily Mail asked for clarification. Instead, they confirmed that Malcolm's daughter was definitely on land, even mentioning that a volunteer lifeguard hauled Malcolm and another person to land after a surfer used his board to save her. This further complicated the image. Right now, there were 3 or more versions from purportedly trustworthy sources. When witnesses on the scene reported their observations, the overlap grew. Malcolm was reportedly by himself. He was with a companion, according to others. While some observed no such occurrence, others remembered a spectacular rescue. The only thing that is evident from all of these reports is that nobody really knows what happened. Then emerged information that cast doubt on the official narrative. First, the ocean was nothing new to Malcolm. He was commended for his ability to control himself in the water. He was a powerful swimmer. Water, he was able to handle strong rip currents and waves. If he didn't fight back, it's highly unlikely that someone like that would be carried away without any opposition. Secondly, there was no indication that Malcolm had had any difficulties staying afloat. One account claims that no wounds, scratches, or indications of weariness from struggle were discovered by rescuers. This raises the terrifying possibility that he died before he even got into the water. If this is the case, his body was discovered in the sea as a result of a staged drowning. Lastly, looking back, the tension in that beach film no longer seems like a small element. Malcolm may have finally realized that things had gotten out of hand during that lonesome walk if he was actually running or sensed he was in danger. Furthermore, if Jaguar Wright's theory is accurate, this was not a man taking a leisurely stroll, but rather someone assessing if it was still feasible to disclose the truth in time. When you put everything together, you find a trip that was billed as a holiday, but was actually an escape, a frightening movie. Contradictory reports and irrational information regarding Malcolm's swimming prowess. The account of his demise is not only an accident report anymore. With too many unknowns, it turns into a conundrum. Every response adds another level of mystery, and the most important question remains unanswered. What threat, if any, did Malcolm actually flee the United States to avoid? And before the Costa Rican waters hit his flesh, did it catch up to him? Jaguar Wright makes shocking claims and reveals ulterior intentions. Let's say that Jaguar Wright's statements regarding Malcolm-Jamal Warner are at least somewhat accurate. The narrative would then cease to be a vacation mishap in Costa Rica, but it can become a far more complicated picture. Malcolm was not just enjoying the sun and the water in that situation. He was also living with the knowledge that he was being watched, that he was in danger, and that he might not have much time left before all doors closed on him. According to Jaguar, Malcolm was the target of very powerful individuals who believed he was about to divulge a secret that would rock Hollywood. She even mentioned a clear warning that allegedly occurred before the recording of the beach video: stay silent or die. From this perspective, the journey to Costa Rica appears to be more of an attempt to find time to reflect, consider his alternatives, or just get away from it than a vacation, away from the increasing pressure. However, that's just one aspect of the situation. Where did Jaguar obtain this information? Others might wonder. And is it supported by hard data, or is it merely a combination of her intuition and accounts? Sources are valuable and hard to confirm in the entertainment industry. Furthermore, the opinions of a contentious person like Jaguar typically fall between two extremes, either fully believed or fully questioned. Malcolm, according to Jaguar, declined to adopt the persona of the safe black artist. A docile, amiable Hollywood frequently favors this non-confrontational image. She underlines that he made the decision to speak out against injustice and denounce the dehumanization and misrepresentation of black identity in the media. This is a serious move given the history of the American entertainment business. People think that artists are in danger when they violate this unspoken rule. Of course, there are other ways to look at that perspective. Being silent is not always the result of speaking up. Numerous other musicians have continued to create and achieve success despite being vocal about social issues. Numerous variables such as changing trends, commercial pressures, or even private factors that are hidden from the public might contribute to a difficult career. Many people are reminded of previous high-profile cases by what Jaguar describes. Dave Chappelle departed Comedy Central in 2005. After walking away from a $50 million deal to travel to Africa, upon his return, he revealed that he had been forced to perform sketches that he believed to be disrespectful to his community, in addition to being pointless. Chappelle's abrupt exit provoked a flurry of ideas ranging from covert disagreements to burn-out. Mariah Carey vanished as well. During a time following the signing of a roughly $100 million media contract covering a medical crisis whose specifics were never quite known. Each incident has its own background and causes, but the sense that something is off has persisted in the public consciousness. In another terrifying episode, Martin Lawrence was spotted screaming, "They're trying to kill me," while sprinting down the street brandishing a gun. From a wider perspective, the commonality that many people find is when artists defy the rules, whatever they may be, and their career route frequently becomes more difficult for whoever sets them. However, breaking the rules can occasionally just indicate a new creative decision that isn't always the product of any evil power. Perhaps Jaguar's statements have more weight because they raise issues that the public already has regarding the entertainment industry's transparency than because they are unquestionably true or untrue. When someone like Jaguar, who is already renowned for making audacious claims, discusses a sit-or-die threat, whether the audience believes it or not, it appeals to their curiosity and anxiety. Perhaps Malcolm was really in danger. Or perhaps it was a trip, a beach video, a horrible conclusion, and pure coincidence. However, it's easy to understand why. Jaguar's story went viral online so quickly when these pieces are compared to predecessors like Chappelle, Mariah, or Lawrence. It's dramatic enough and allows just enough room for anyone to construct their own interpretation of events. And maybe the question of what Jaguar claims to be true will remain a shadow until there is conclusive evidence, strong enough to keep people talking, observing, and questioning, but neither verified nor denied. The link to the rivalry between Drake and Kendrick. If Jaguar Wright's account is merely a speculation, the connection between Drake and Kendrick Lamar's well-publicized feud and Malcolm-Jamal Warner is what gives the theory a darker tone. Malcolm adopted a unique position in the midst of the hip-hop business as a whole. Being engulfed in a cycle of lyrics, clapbacks, and derisive interactions, he didn't pick a side. Not because he didn't care, but Jaguar claims that he watched the entire fight as if he were outside the ring, taking in how the media covered it, how the crowds were drawn in, and most importantly, how some force appeared to be pulling the strings. Malcolm is reported to have made the observation that when two of the most influential black artists of the day compete against one another, the people who wish to see both of them weakened may end up winning more than the one who wins. From one point of view, this is a really sensible observation. Top-level division in any industry frequently allows for the ascent or consolidation of power by other companies. But by stating this aloud from a different perspective, it's possible that Malcolm touched on sensitive subjects that most artists steer clear of in public. This was the pivotal moment that turned Malcolm into a problem in the eyes of the mysterious forces. If Jaguar is correct, he avoided playing sides, which the media could have done to heighten the drama. Even worse, he revealed the motivations for it from the viewpoint of the forces Jaguar refers to. He was in the position of someone who was not following the script because of this. Additionally, breaking the script is rarely a safe course of action in the entertainment industry. As numerous previous stories have demonstrated, Malcolm was aware of the risk, according to Jaguar's supporters. His last podcast before passing away is one piece of evidence they point to. Malcolm is portrayed in it as speaking urgently and not seeming to care who he pleases. He made allusions to disclosing the networks and systems he said were controlling the image, careers, and even private lives of black artists. Fascinatingly, although he didn't specifically name anyone or offer concrete proof, his phrase choice made them stand out. The controllers made it seem as though he was speaking of a real group, not just a theoretical idea. It was obvious to anyone who knows the backstage jargon of entertainment that he was referring to something delicate. Some, however, contend that it would be too drastic to immediately link this to conspiracy theories, and that it could simply be Malcolm's use of complex metaphors in his speech. Strong language is frequently used in talk shows and podcasts to keep listeners interested, not always as evidence, the scheme, or inside information. In any case, the truth is that Jaguar is now incorporating this podcast into a broader narrative. After speaking out against intentional divisiveness in the black artist community, Malcolm found himself entangled in a series of circumstances that ultimately resulted in his contentious death. This is a chain of causes and effects for people who believe in Jaguar. For some who are more cautious, it's simply a remarkable coincidence. The link between Malcolm and the Drake-Kendrick dispute is a unique puzzle piece because of its difficult to categorize character. Although it's not as obvious as a lawsuit or a contract leak, it establishes an imperceptible connection between a personal tragedy and a significant event in popular culture. Audiences are compelled to ask, is this just a series of coincidences or a link in something bigger? BI involvement after they begin to notice these threads, no matter how subtle or evident, when suspicion is followed by research. The narrative might have easily faded if the circumstances behind Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death had remained confined to rumors. However, the situation completely shifts if federal authorities have actually become interested in the case. The explanation is simple to comprehend. Malcolm was an American citizen who passed away overseas under what many believe to be mysterious circumstances. Such circumstances have previously led to U.S. government intervention, particularly when domestic public skepticism is considerable. The Shanquella Robinson case from 2022 is the most frequently referenced example. Alcohol poisoning was first cited as the cause of the young woman's death while on vacation in Cabo, Mexico, but contradicting explanations and leaked video footage made the affair a media flashpoint. While Mexican authorities conducted their own investigation, the FBI also became engaged in order to gather information from a variety of sources, including witnesses, tangible proof, as well as digital information. Although the case's outcome is still up for question, it did demonstrate that federal officials will act without hesitation when suspicion is sufficiently high and the victim is an American. A possible FBI probe into Malcolm's case may go in a number of ways. One would be to investigate if he had received threats prior to his passing. This can entail tracking his messages, emails, and meeting plans over the last week to look for indications of pressure or threats. Determining whether organized criminality or a coordinated group was emerging would be another. Based on the evidence, both paths necessitate the kind of resources and access that only an organization such as the FBI can provide. The field of digital and tangible evidence from the incident is another. Data from surveillance cameras at the resort beach or nearby. Routes would be extremely important if the case is viewed as suspicious. Accounts from witnesses, ranging from lifeguards to hotel employees to other visitors, may confirm or refute the official version. The precise time and cause of death would be determined by carefully examining medical data, including the autopsy report. This, of course, brings up the question of collaboration between us and Costa Rican officials, which may be more and more intricate than the general public thinks. Beyond technical analysis, there's the additional factor of Hollywood's response or lack thereof. In comparable situations, we frequently witness a surge of memorials, recollections, and even open appeals for openness from peers. However, public reactions from well-known individuals have been less than anticipated in Malcolm's case. Depending on one's point of view, this quiet could be interpreted as a sign of a tacit agreement to stay out of a contentious story, or as respect for privacy and waiting for correct information before commenting. Rumors have been spreading quickly behind the scenes. There are rumors that before traveling to Costa Rica, Malcolm issued a warning to several of his closest associates. Others reported heated discussions he had with several powerful people. Although no one has the courage to verify these rumors, their persistence demonstrates the case's sensitivity and appeal. A tale is nearly guaranteed to attract the attention of the public and possibly investigators if it contains all the necessary components. An unexpected death, a foreign setting, accusations involving powerful forces, and a major individual who was once a cultural icon. The suggestion alone is sufficient to change the public's impression of the case from one of an accident to one that requires investigation. Regardless of whether the FBI has really intervened, coming apart. Furthermore, it is difficult for a question to go away once it has been posed until a responsive one is ever made public is found. Theories regarding the order's source. The question of who would be responsible for the order naturally surfaced when news of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death spread and Jaguar Wright's story started making the rounds on various platforms. Everything is currently firmly in the realm of conjecture. There isn't a definitive solution, as every circumstance has its own advantages, disadvantages, and information gaps, making it both worthwhile to discuss and challenging to verify. First theory, power inside the entertainment sector. Some people consider very powerful Hollywood characters to be a potential connection. In a sector valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, the logic is simple. Controlling the story and image is just as powerful as box office receipts or music streaming figures. Being taken from the game, either physically or symbolically, may be interpreted as a means of safeguarding the system if someone like Malcolm, as Jaguar describes him, were set to divulge information that could upend the foundation of this order. This theory's motivation comes from preserving a consistent public image and avoiding disclosures that can start a series of scandals. The phrase, "stay silent or die," that Jaguar cited is a symbolic shorthand for the types of coercion that the powerful may use to safeguard their interests. According to proponents of this approach, financial or commercial conflicts are the second theory. Malcolm's potential involvement in a financial dispute is the subject of another line of inquiry. Contracts pertaining to image, rights, or content creation in the entertainment sector frequently entail large quantities of money and intricate language. One dispute regarding the ownership and profit sharing of artistic creations, or confidentiality violations, can cause great conflict between parties. According to the theory's proponents, Malcolm would have been motivated to find a definite solution. If he had been involved in a significant negotiation or disagreement and had refused to make concessions or threatened to divulge harmful information to the opposing side. But no public record shows that he was embroiled in a legal dispute or contract dispute at the time. Therefore, this is still just conjecture based on what might occur in the sector. Third theory, leverage through personal relationships. Although it is not as widely debated, this belief is nonetheless prevalent in backstage discussions. It is predicated on the notion that a human may occasionally be coerced by a romantic, familial, or intimate relationship. Malcolm might have been used as leverage by people looking to control him if he had a relationship that left him emotionally or reputationally exposed. Even though this information was later disputed, some have conjectured that the early media reports that he died while saving his daughter might have been part of a contrived story, according to this theory's logic. Including a family element in the narrative not only evokes strong feelings in the audience, but also diverts attention from more delicate subjects. The absence of concrete proof unites the three situations. None of these have been verified by public records, papers, or specific witnesses. Furthermore, over time, information is prone to distortion or exaggeration in a setting, as rumored as Hollywood. Even when the origin of a statement is uncertain, it can become obvious if it is repeated frequently enough. Furthermore, incidents such as power disputes, contract tensions, or personal connection breakdowns occur frequently in the sector without resulting in catastrophe. Selecting a single case and including an aspect of an assassination order demands a degree of evidence that the general public has not yet seen. Why, therefore, do so many people still think that Jaguar is real? A portion of it stems from her individual past. Jaguar Wright has previously made audacious statements about other well-known people. And in certain instances, the details that followed were not wholly unfounded. She now has a reputation as a whistleblower who isn't afraid to say what others don't. Furthermore, her account of Malcolm follows well-known trends in which an artist speaks out, challenges authority, and then meets an unexpected end, which makes it simpler to believe in a setting where people are already dubious about the transparency of the entertainment sector. Hello, GPT chat. Despite all of the hypotheses, suspicions, and contradictory reports surrounding Malcolm-Jamal Warner, there is still a hole in the story that needs to be filled. It can just be a series of bad things that happened, or it can be a fragment of a much bigger image that the general public has never seen before. Whatever path you take, one thing is certain: the desire to find the truth never wanes when inquiries go unanswered. Make sure to like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell if you want to continue reading in-depth analyses, hearing more varied viewpoints, and participating in the analysis of stories that the mainstream media frequently ignores. Most crucial piece to finish this puzzle might be revealed in the upcoming video. This video's facts, analysis, and commentary are all based on the information that was available at the time it was produced. The information may vary over time. Thus, it shouldn't be regarded as a firm prediction. There's so much more to discover. Tales of truth, legacy, and tenacity. Please explore some of our highly suggested videos that are now available on your